believe that we started recording right in the middle of 2020 with all of the COVID and lockdowns going on around us, unable to meet up. So like many a young gentleman, we turned to the internet for our entertainment. Tried to find a place where we could meet up and talk about the good, the bad, and that time that Stu saw a pelican on the canal. In order to facilitate our dreams of answering all of the big questions in film, and after a few attempts at recording via other methods to various levels of success, we found Zencastr, a super easy web-based one-stop shop for recording. Log in and you're ready to record in a matter of seconds. It doesn't take a tech genius to get high-quality audio or video. And on top of that, the one time we have had an issue, the fact that the multi-layered backups are stored locally means it's easily fixed all in browser. There are plenty of tools you need when you start podcasting, so let Zencastr take that headache away as it offers a place to record, edit and distribute all from one website. Any lazy bones Jones can pick up and play and have studio quality audio or 4K video put out for the world to see when using Zencastr. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code CAGEFIGHTING and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. We want you to have the same easy experiences we do for all our podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. And now, hit the music.
I feel the need for speed.
Hello and welcome to Cage Fighting, Cruise Control. It's your main man, Andy Gillard. Hope everybody's keeping well in the world right now.
Hello everyone, Stuart Kenneth Hall in the house.
Afternoon everyone, it's Ed here and asking a question to the listeners. What finger did you press a doorbell with? Please email us at cagefightingfod@gmail.com and tell Stu why he's weird for using his thumb.
It's the natural evolution of things.
I disagree. I think you're just a bit odd, Stu, if I'm honest. So we've come to the end. This is going to be the final episode of the Netflix problem. How have you felt doing like a series? Because I don't think we've ever done like a proper deep dive into anything like this. We've had topics that we've, dragged out across 2 or 3 weeks, but this was like a proper sort of mini series that we've done here. What do you reckon to it?
I mean, it worked because, when we've done it before, we've done it because we were all going away and we've just recorded one big long episode and split it up, people on the go. But this has been like properly devised and separated into topics. So it makes, when it's done like this, it makes perfect sense to me. I don't know where you go for this for other topics, but yeah, it's been different. And like in 5 years, we've never done anything like this, like you said. So new ideas, new ways.
What about yourself, Ed? What do you think about this sort of format going forward? Is it something you think we could do again?
I like the format. I think we're all quite intelligent lads here on the Cage Fighting Cruise Control podcast. I think it's good also just because it's a little snapshot in time, isn't it, of where we are? Because Netflix, when it came in, was this amazing thing, and now we're talking about has it fizzled out? Has it become a meme of itself almost? So I think it's interesting to do these things, and we're every single episode we get closer to talking about The Simpsons and making Stu talk about The Simpsons.
That's going to be in May. It's animated TV month. It's going to be May. I'm looking forward. It was going to be April, but because we know Stu's going away, I was like, no, I'm going to have to push it back. Because obviously I've got a South Park episode and I know Stu will want to be on for that. So I think it only makes sense to make sure that he's around for that one. I think, like with the series, the way that we've done it, the only change that I would probably make going forward, I think we've been quite heavy for a lot of the last 4 weeks have been quite heavy. But we had those 2 episodes before where we were a bit more celebratory of how Netflix has done. I think I'd probably mix it up and maybe have a heavier episode and then a lighter episode and try and maybe balance it out a little bit. But I've kind of enjoyed getting my teeth stuck into something, a bit deeper than what we normally do, I think. I have quite enjoyed it. I think it's been an interesting way of doing it. And as you said, Stu, like we've been doing it, approaching our 6th year now, it's good to mix it up a little bit. So this week, it's pretty much bringing everything together. This week is Enshittification and Can Netflix Be Saved? So Enshittification even, it may have only been coined in 2022. but we've always known what enshittification is, just by different terms. The practice of initially offering a brilliant, all-singing, all-dancing product that the consumer loves, only to degrade that service and charge more for the privilege to maximise shareholder profits. It's a tale as old as time, let's be perfectly honest. Enshittification is basically the grand unifying theory of how every tech platform decays. Facebook, Amazon, Uber, Twitter, TikTok, they've all taken the same scenic route to disappointment. So now the question is whether Netflix can escape the fate of every platform before it, or whether it is already halfway down the enshittification water slide. So this week is the final week of the Netflix problem, so I assume everybody is going to be cancelling their memberships as soon as they've listened to this episode, or they'll at least be joining us on the picket lines demanding a better product from Netflix. We've talked about Netflix, how it's changed Hollywood, the content, the cancellations, the ownership crisis, and now we're just pulling it all together and trying to answer the big question that I think we've been leading up to. Can Netflix be fixed? So the first part that I've got is the life cycle of enshittification. Starts great, chases growth, squeezes creators, squeezes users, degrades the product. This isn't a villain arc. Like, this is just corporate beige washing of everything that you used to love. So some of the key facts and figures. It's a term coined by Cory Doctorow in 2022. It was the word of the year in 2023. It applies to everything. So Facebook, previously a simple way to let your friends know what is happening in your life. Now it employs algorithms to maximise engagement. Engagement has become a word as dirty as content for me. It feels cynical at this point. They bury friends under viral dog piss. Facebook went from connect with your friends to connect with a man selling feet pics from a shed in Hounslow. Amazon, cheap, fast, a fantastic review system so you knew what you were getting into. Now sellers pay to advertise and Amazon pushes their own inferior products and irrelevant ads quite often, hiding real products under sponsored junk. Uber, it was cheap, it was friendly, transparent pricing. Now it's all about surge pricing. The staff don't even get like the extra money that they're charging for surge pricing because it happens to be raining that day. You get fucked more in an Uber taxi than you do in a fake taxi. It's fucking disgusting. Twitter, the garden fence of the world, replaced with right-wing trolls pushing endless lies led by a gullible Nazi shit cunt. Gone are the adverts from Disney and Amazon, and now they're replaced with badly made death traps and a robot who makes child porn for losers who pay to use a free site. Enshittification is just the way of the world. Welcome to late-stage capitalism, for like the fourth time that I've said to you guys this week. It's just where we are with everything, and it's awful. So the arc, you treat users well to grow, you treat your business partners well relatively to scale, then you squeeze both to extract the profit. The product quality declines once they've got everybody addicted, and Netflix is no different. Pre-2016, the golden age. Low prices, no ads, massive library of beloved film and TV with some prestige originals coming through. It was bold, it was risky, it was exciting, it was an outsider. And then you get to 2017 to 2021 where they just became obsessed with growth. They spent billions on originals just for the global domination and cancelled everything that didn't explode on day one. And then I think you've got 2022 to the present day, the squeeze phase. So you've got your ads, you've got your price hikes, you've got your password crackdown after saying they would never do any of it. So that's where we are. So at some moment in time, Netflix went from being the cool kid wearing the leather coat and sunglasses, a bit like Stu in that picture, to being just another studio suit. I've got 4 points where I think enshittification really set in that I kind of want you guys' opinions on. So really, the first big wave of cancellations in 2019 and 20. The OA, Glow, Mindhunter, they were three massive shows with audiences that love them and still to this day love them and want them to come back. But they were all called with very little real explanation behind it. But I think that was a big moment where things started to shift. That felt like Netflix went from being a company that wanted you to enjoy what they had to just accepting what they will give you. We've spoken at length about this already, but this sends a message, doesn't it? Netflix isn't saying, well, they are saying you don't like what you like what we give you. Ed, is that fair or am I being harsh? Are they trying to give us more or do they just want us to shut the fuck up and take it like a good girl?
No, I think it's more the latter, isn't it? Because like you said, there are beloved shows that died a death before they needed to, and it's because there was this need that Netflix seemed to have, and like you talked about, Amazon and all the other places that work on subscription models just want you to, what's new, what's shiny, isn't it, and what keeps you coming back, and how can we latch on to this group of people over here that we haven't got an algorithm for. So it's like, we actually haven't got sort of the teenage demographic down, so let's go for that, demon K-pop demon thingy that all the teenagers loved all of a sudden.
Stuart's furious.
Award winner, by the way.
I've never seen it, but all I know is that Jacob, my 11-year-old, and a lot of his friends talk about it a lot. He's never watched it because he's a Victorian child, but all of his friends love it, and they're sort of 11, 12, and it's catching that audience, isn't it? There's always another audience to catch, and I think that seems to be Netflix's need to constantly hit F5, doesn't it? There's a refresh that it always seems to need to do, and you can't get into it. Well, I know I can't get into anything without knowing it's got at least 3 seasons. I think I said that last time I was on. I don't watch anything now that comes out unless I know that there's at least 3 seasons, because I'm not going to get into it to be disappointed again. Entirely
reasonable. Stu, do you feel like that was that like an early indicator about 2019, 2020? Was that about the time you think where you noticed the shift in Netflix?
Well, yeah, because I was one of the mind hunters, and it never made any sense, because it was all like, whenever you went on there, it was always in the UK top 10 all the time.
Yeah.
And well, this is odd. And obviously you're listening to podcasts and it's in the top 10 in America as well. You think, well, this thing's obviously, you've got top talent in there, but still it's not massive from a production point of view. There wasn't really that many effects, if any at all. It was like that hidden CG stuff that we see sometimes. So it didn't make any sense at all. I think, well, the stories could go on and on for this for years. And unless someone doesn't want to make it anymore, then that's understandable. But that wasn't the case. They just decided that, oh, no, we're not renewing this. And then, well, that's a bit weird thing to do. And like the OA was one that I was really interested in for ages. I never jumped in. And then as soon as it was cancelled, it was like, well, okay, you're never been watched. Which it gets deleted from the my list, and now that doesn't make any difference anymore because you put 3 on every week. But it was a case of you saw certain things just vanish, and then as time went on, when you saw that how much more new things were added to it, that then vanished as well. And something's slightly different here. And I know they were trying to flood it with COVID because no one else had anything else to do, and no one else could make anything, and they had this backlog of stuff. But by doing that, by the time it came to actually releasing new things, because things hadn't been made for 2 years, they were screwed. And then we are in the situation where we are now, when everyone just doubled down, making everything, and now there's too much.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like they balanced it at all well. I'm just trying to remember. Sorry, carry on, Ed.
Do you remember the shift? I'm going to ask this to Stu because he's a Christmas lover like me. But do you remember when all of a sudden Netflix became like where you go to for all your Christmas movies as well? That felt like a mega refresh as well, didn't it?
Yeah, that was one of the best times of my entire life. It was amazing.
No, that was a good one. And all the Hallmark ones that came over and all that stuff, it was brilliant.
The Netflix Cinematic Christmas Universe, I've watched every single one of them films. Even every year, there's only like 2 now, 2 or 3. Yeah. I mean, there was times where the princess ones that you watched, Andy, you love them as well.
I've seen one of them. The one with Vanessa Hudgens.
Yeah, there's 3 of them.
They're better they're better than I'd ever admit on I'm on a podcast. But,
I like her, and that was the only reason I gave the first one a chance. But I'm not watching that. If it's not got Melissa Joan Hart, I'm not interested.
I've been saying that since 1996, I think.
She's gone all skinny again now.
Oh, I'm not interested anymore.
I saw there was a beach paparazzi picture. I thought, she's always picked herself. Which is a shame. But people were saying, comparing her to what she was like with Sabrina. She was a child then.
Yeah, that's too far back.
That's grim, yeah. I'm old enough to remember Clarissa, never mind fucking Sabrina.
Yep. Sam coming in the window.
Andrew's coming in the window.
Netflix once tweeted, "Love is sharing a password." This felt like there was a big shift in public perception when they went back on that one. That feels like the moment where the word Enshittification was born. It was the biggest betrayal at that point. Love is sharing a password, but it just turns out that love is $10.99 a month. I don't like that. Is it fair, Stu, that they cracked down and it was one password per household, one account per household? Or is that just being greedy?
I mean, I never thought that would last anyway because it seemed insane. When the price was so cheap, as it was at the time, that you could still have four accounts that you could have in one house.
Mm-hmm.
Then what's the problem? Like it's £10. Who cares? I never had an issue with them doing it, but it was then when they did it and then put the price up again. That was when I thought that's a bit of a bad move there. Because you had that whole thing about people who were using their passwords when they were at uni and stuff, and the students and things like that. And because then it wasn't a household and you could get around it, it turned into a bit of a mess. So it was just, again, the messaging wasn't great around it all. They knew that there'd be backlash against it, but they didn't lose any subscribers, did they? So if anything, it was all a big case of, well, it's just anger online. No one really. I think
there was an initial dip, and then it sort of people who lost out on the password ended up subscribing. Some of them, obviously, so. For example, I used to share mine with my mum because she wouldn't know where to fucking go with this stuff. So I just put it on her TV, and I don't think she ever used it. But now she doesn't even have the option to use it. So they're sort of missing out on potential eyes on the product, but they're not missing out on money because they were never going to get that money in the first place. So it's kind of irrelevant in those terms.
I mean, that's what I've said about sport piracy as well. Mm-hmm. Like you do the Prem Plus thing, which we'll see how that trial goes over there in Singapore. You put that at £10, £20 a month. A lot of people who have Fire Sticks will take that up, but the people who don't, you're not losing out because they wasn't going to give you the money in the first place. So. Yeah, you might have had more eyes on the prize, but they ain't going to make any more money from it. Mm-hmm. I think that was exactly the case with the password sharing thing. Because my mum had the same thing. She had my brother's, and then he had her Prime or something like that. Mm-hmm. They all shared and mixed them together. Me being the oldest and the outcast, I didn't have any of this by myself. So. It was never an issue for me. Like we never shared any passwords with anyone because, like you just said, I put Netflix on my mother-in-law's telly and she nenever used it once. I got her a Fire Stick, never used it once. She just sit there and watch BBC One all day. But again, 60-year-old women, what you're going to expect. But yeah, for me, it was never a problem, but I can see why it was for some.
Ed, do you think it would have been easier pill to swallow had they not have come out saying love is sharing a password?
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? Is when you make a bold statement like that, as in any shape or form, especially as a company. Do you remember when was it the PlayStation 4 when that came out and the Xbox that went alongside it? Do you remember when Xbox said you couldn't share games with your friends?
I watched that happen in real time. It was one of the funniest nights ever because they did it it was at E3 in 2013, and Xbox came out and it was all TV, and there's a game sharing and this DRM stuff and always online. And they went first, so they were on at 6 o'clock, I think. Their press conference was at 6 o'clock. The PlayStation 1 came on at 2 in the morning, because obviously Japan time. In that time, they were basically went to film that video backstage between Shuhei and Adam Boyes, I think, was the head of PR. Well, I even know this stuff. It was definitely Shuhei Yoshida who was head of PlayStation at the time. I think it was Adam Boyes. And he basically just handed in the disc to each other backstage. And then that went up and it went mental. And it killed them. And they never got back.
Yeah. It's a PR disaster, isn't it? But I think, like Stu just said, it's all a bit of a storm in a teacup because those people that you just talked about, people's mums, aunties, uncles, if they weren't watching it when it was for free, they're not going to go out and pay that subscription fee either, are they? Because they weren't missing out on anything, were they? So I think the only problem you have, I think, as a company is you lose a bit of face. But Netflix at that point was so big that it could probably afford to lose a bit of face because people would forget about it eventually. Because realistically, we all want it, because we all want to, we need that content that you talked about earlier, Andy. We need something to engage us. So it weeded out all it did was weeded out the people that used it maybe 3 times a year, and they're not going to count for much for adverts, are they, eventually, either, when they were moving towards that. So I think the problem they had is obviously there's a moral issue there rather than a financial one. Because I'm with Stu. I think you pay for what you get. That didn't bother me at all, that all of a sudden you couldn't share a password. But I think where it hits you is in that, it hits you in your morals of, well, don't say that if you don't mean it. And it's a bit like, don't go back on it. But also, they're a conglomerate of money-making men, aren't they? So they're going to. It's just business.
To clarify, I was completely correct. It was Adam Boyce. And that video on the PlayStation YouTube account titled "Official PlayStation Used Game Instructional Video" has had 20 million views.
And it is literally just someone handing someone else a game and saying, "There you go, mate."
Yeah, and it's Killzone Shadowfall, which they obviously had because that was a launch game. Good as well. So they just had that lying around in the background, and they killed them with it.
Incredible. That reminds me, I'll tell you whilst I remember, Stu, I was in Waterstones the other day, and there's a book by Keza MacDonald called Super Nintendo, and it's always about the rise of the tiny Japanese company that took over the world. I think it might be something you might be interested in. So I forgot to mention it the other day.
I spoke to Keza before on Twitter. She's a nice lady, Scottish.
I quite enjoyed that podcast that she used to do. The one where they used to talk to people about, the first game you played, the favourite. I thought that was quite interesting. Yeah, I can't remember what it's called now, but I enjoyed that. She was at Eurogamer, I think, when she did that, because she was at IGN, and then she was at Eurogamer, and then she did Kotaku for a bit. Is she at the Observer or something like that now? Could be. Yeah. The only thing I found quite weird was there's no pictures in there. And I don't need pictures to read a book, but I think if you're talking about a game company and their games, you kind of want to see it. That's a mistrick, isn't it? That it is a little bit. Double the pages and give me half of them to be images, just to give me that nostalgia hit that I want. But it's like Console Wars, though. I don't think that's got any pictures in at all. I've had that downloaded forever. I think I got it for 99p off Amazon, and I've just never got around to reading it. But it's one that I've heard very good things about. It's really, a lot of people have said it's the best one of the game books. Yeah, it's like proper holiday reading as well, because obviously it's not about a serious real subject. It's about 2 bits of plastic, really, but it's it in the background, so you can just skim it. You can have a few beers around the pool. Great, excellent. Yeah, I need to check that one out at some point. The price hikes, accompanied by shrinking libraries. We discussed this on previous weeks. The catalogue now is smaller than it's ever been, and the product is more expensive than it's ever been. Is there a reasonable argument for 6 price hikes in 10 years, knowing that the available product is lessening, Ed? Or is this really the crux of the matter? We're getting less for a lot more. No, to coin your phrase, Andy, it's late stage capitalism, isn't it? We just keep turning up the dial. They've gone past 11 now. We're now into past Spinal Tap. But the thing is, it's not just Netflix, is it? Everyone is turning up the prices. I mean, we don't necessarily need to talk politics, but all it took was one person to may or may not mess up the world that's in charge of the free world. And I paid £20 more for my petrol last week than I did the week before. People gouge the working people. That's just what's always happened. That's why, my history degree, my nerdy history side of me thinks about, well, that's why people tried to get communism up, didn't it? Just to make everything one price. There is parts of that is, I don't think that works either. But there's a reason that's an ideology that people follow, is because people are sick and tired of the gouging. And six price hikes in 10 years, did you say, Andy? It's just, if that was any other thing other than something that, if it was bread, milk, whatever, the devastation that would cause, and obviously the cost of living is ridiculous, but imagine doing something that isn't a choice, going up that much, it would basically ruin the world, wouldn't it?
it's hard to justify even from a business point of view, isn't it? Because they were always making money hand over fist. So it's greedy men wanting to be greedier.
This is the crux of the matter, I think. These increases tend to be over inflation. They are already making billions a year, and now they want to make 1.2 billion or 1.3. Or it's not to make sure that they're sustaining their level. It's to get more and more, and it does always end up falling on the little people, doesn't it? Yeah. And it is depressing that it feels like there's no end in sight. I know, like, this is Netflix, but Stu, Disney Plus, didn't they give us a really good introductory offer of, like, was it 40 quid for 12 months? And then it was 70 quid, and then it was 90 quid, and then it was 100. And it hasn't stopped. It feels like that one comes around every 12 months. Like, it comes about as regularly as fucking Father Christmas. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was. I was $6.99 in my head for a month. I don't know why.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, and I paid the annual subscription.
Yeah,
it was like 50. It was 40 or 50. Yeah, I know you ended up with like maybe 2 months free, something like that.
Something like that.
Good deal.
I mean, you still do get that now, to be fair, and you still get if you pay up front. But up front now is when it's 15 quid a month for the top tier one that you were then paying $7, and it's over doubled in 3-4 years. Yeah, there is a lot more on there now than there was when it launched, to be fair. But still, I mean, we're used to it with our little pieces of gold plastic that's gone up 50 quid every year for 5 years until the point where it's got so bad it's had to be chopped by 25%. So with that, there was a breaking point. With Netflix, it doesn't seem to be there's one there yet. But because people are addicted to it, and they've got their evil claws into everyone, then they can do what they want, and it's just fact. If the phone contract stuff, unless you play the game and do deals around Black Friday, which even they're kind of getting wise to that now, and doing certain things around it to stop you doing that as well. The phone that I've got, my Pixel 10, is I think 30 quid more expensive than my Pixel 8 a month from 2 years ago. Why?
It's so people like Jeff Bezos can do the gross things of like hiring out an entire city like he did with Venice, isn't it? It's just they have these people and these shareholders and everyone that's behind them have this weird need to be like Bond villains but without the gadgets. It's just like it's just like when you think about someone hiring out an entire city, like he genuinely did. He hired out all of Venice. Like that's a level of wealth that the world's never seen before. It's ludicrous, isn't it? And there is no
it's gross.
It's disgusting. There's no justification for it. You could be the most staunch capitalist in the world. I don't see how you could make a fair argument for that. It's just and it's because they can charge us an extra 5 quid for whatever it is they want. And then if you times that by however many million people that have got Amazon Prime, it's ludicrous amounts of money. It's money that would fix the GDP of so many countries.
And the 3 quid extra to not have adverts that you didn't used to have anyway.
Yeah.
That's an amazing one that was.
Yeah.
And it's a subscription.
Nice.
It's a subscription model, well, isn't it? That's the thing people forget.
Yeah.
That was the only thing I was going to say. People just forget. And even if they get 6 months of you forgetting out of you, it's money in their pocket, isn't it?
Set and forget, that's the plan. No advertisements ever. That was something they legitimately said, that they would never, ever put advertisements on their system. And then they saw people start to walk away because of the price hikes. They tempted folks back with a cheap deal. In order to get that cheap deal, you had to have the advertisements, though. And, like, don't get me wrong, we all complain about the BBC for, like, a various fucking litany of evil that they have done in the past and still perpetrate to do. But they don't make us sit through fucking advertisements mid-show. So why are we paying to watch adverts? Like, that feels wrong. And that feels like that should be the final nail in Netflix's coffin for me. Or are just consumers so beaten down that it's just another step before the next price hike, and then it's double ads, and then it's sign your firstborn over to us. Like, where's it going to end? It just feels like it's just another on the rung of absolute dog shit that we're having to suffer with these companies now.
I mean, they know that people. I mean, some people generally don't care about adverts. I mean, you got the ad one.
Yeah, me
It's only
too.
because I can't cancel it. Because I get it through my phone. If I didn't get it through my phone, I wouldn't have it.
Same.
I mean, I'd rather spear myself than watch adverts. And
I don't watch
so-
Netflix, though. That's the thing.
And there's no way. It's just not happening. That was one of the reasons why we went to the high seas in the first place. That even when things were on stuff that I had, like Sky One with 24 and Lost, I went on there because I didn't want to watch adverts in the middle of my programs. It's not the point. It's been paid for already, but properly at that time as well. But no, I was just going to watch the 42 minutes. I don't want an hour. I don't want to see any Daz adverts or anything like that. It's sad about Danny Kelly, though, having cancer. That was bad. But hopefully he gets better.
Yeah.
Danny Baker automatically reminds you of Danny Kelly.
Yeah, I think they go together. It's another one of those things, though, isn't it, Stu? With the adverts, it's another way to gouge you, isn't it? That's the thing, and it's just like you pay the extra. I'm the same as Andy. I think it's through the TV that I get the Netflix thing, and it comes with adverts. But I just walk away. I'll go and make my cup of tea or whatever, and then come back. And that's the thing, isn't it? You just skip back a couple if you've taken a bit too long, and you get back to it. But that's the attention span thing that we talked about as well with Netflix and life in general now, isn't it? That we just I agree. I don't want to sit through. I don't sit through the adverts. I walk off and do something else.
I mean, are they like the old way of every 20 minutes, or it's like every 15 minutes?
No, it's sporadic, isn't it? It's like
I've
not a
watched,
set time.
I think the only thing that I've watched on Netflix in the last year was I think I watched a film around Christmas time it was
Frankenstein.
Stranger Things, and I think there was like 2 adverts in like the whole of the run. I went through episodes without them, and then I had like 2 episodes in the space of one. It didn't feel like there was natural episode breaks. They just sort of dumped them in there at random.
Yeah.
I don't know if there is actually an algorithm for it, and I just got lucky or what. But yeah, there was no rhyme or reason to them.
No, when I've got nothing going on, I'll throw a Taskmaster on in the background because I've watched them all. And it could be 1 an episode, it could be 5. It really does depend, and it can be halfway through it. Like that one, for instance, that's a Channel 4 show. It should be every 15 minutes. I've watched 2 or 3 in the background, and there's been 1, and then in the whole hour, and then the next one could have 3 in it, and they're in the middle of a task. Someone's doing something, and then you get
And there's natural ad breaks in that where they actually throw to the adverts. So quite poor, really, isn't it?
It doesn't feel like I think it's there to catch you out. Probably that's probably what the algorithm's doing. So you will watch them because it's not what you expect them.
If you know they're every 15 minutes, then maybe you can prep for it or do something like that. Like go to the toilet or whatever. Like I do in November for I'm a Celebrity season, where I'll pay my £6 to ITVX, so I can just watch it without the adverts, and then end up having to pause it to go and do something anyway sometimes. But there's seemingly, as usual, I am the outlier on the special one, where so many people just don't give a fuck about adverts, and probably because
occasionally
they've
you
grown
need a
up
shit break. So that's the reason I don't particularly care.
Well, yeah, if you're not
You
regular,
can do something. Well, or if you're too regular.
once in the morning when I wake up, once before I go to bed.
I have a friend who hasn't been for a shit for 3 days. He told me today, and I am stunned. 3 fucking days.
He must be
like
unwell.
Well, you can ask him in the group chat. If I go 3 hours without one, I start to fucking worry. So yeah,
that's a coffee though.
Yeah, that
coffee doesn't help.
It keeps me more than regular.
Like when I went a whole week without having a coffee, and you went mad.
I don't know how you do it.
No, me either.
I don't. I've cut back on mine, but if I still need at least 2 a day. Like going a week without one is just.
I'd get a headache now. because of the
Same.
caffeine withdrawal. That's just
Well, what I've started to do in our other group chat, the Fancast, so speak to Dean Marsden about yerba mate.
no, I'm not
tea.
doing that nonsense. I've seen it.
It's really nice, and it's a lot more mellow. Yeah, it's a decent one. I'm not like Dean. I'm not that trendy and having that weird little pod thing that he drinks out of.
Hi, Dean.
Just get
Because we know
yourself some
you
tea
listen.
bags. Yeah, hi, Dean. Yeah, lovely. Right, so can Netflix save itself? I think there are some unmovables that Netflix just won't do. So, like the cancelling of stuff that underperforms. And I don't disagree. Like, if you're spending a lot of money and your return is zero, okay, I sort of get it. They're not going to be reducing the price of the ads at this point. They're here now. They've got used to the money that brings in. So they're not going to be shrinking their shareholders' bank balances just to try and meet us halfway. And I don't think they will prioritise consumers over investors. Like, things being cool is less attractive to them than a Microsoft Express spreadsheet telling them this will get you more money. Like, that's just where we are in the world now. So I think those are some immovable things that they won't be doing. However, I think there are some things that we as consumers want, and I think could be fairly reasonable. Like, I think we want stability. Like, we don't want everything cancelled midlife. Like I said, I understand that there's going to be stuff that is just people just don't tune into. But if there's a bit of something there, give it a bit of time. I don't want a library that just fucking evaporates. Stop the churn. Let stuff get a little bit of breathing space. A browsing experience that isn't a fucking psychological torture. Stop trying to trick me into watching your dog shit stuff by shrinking the credits and throwing fucking trailers at me. I think they can give us a fair price for the value. It doesn't have to be like, cheap isn't where we're going to be, but make it fair. Stu, we've spoke about this before. The reason piracy exists isn't because people charge for their products, it's because they charge too much for their products. If you can offer something at a fair price, people would rather have the convenience of that than going out of their way to do the illegal. Like, not everybody, but those people were never going to fucking do it in the first place, so it makes no odds to them. But treat everyone else with a little bit more respect, I think.
I think that there seems to be like a sweet spot now with all these. Like, if you're watching on TNT as well for the last month or so, they've been trialing because they're moving over to HBO Max next week rather than on Discovery Plus. So it's going to be TNT's going to be on there for whatever reason. So I had a look at it just out of curiosity, and the premium tier of HBO Max is $14.99 a month. Well, okay, same as what it is for Disney Plus. Same as what it is for Paramount Plus. $14.99 seems to be that's where we are. Okay, if that's where we are, then fine. As long as we stay there.
Well, this is it, because the next time the price goes up, from our experience as Netflix viewers, the quality and quantity of the content hasn't gone up with it. And I think that's where the mismatch comes, and it feels a bit sickly.
It's when it gets to 20, that's where, like you had with the Game Pass stuff. Yeah, you have. With Game Pass was I paid for Game Pass every month. I barely even used it. It was just there because it didn't really matter. It was like, okay, well, you can get it offloaded or formerly CD keys at the time. You can get 3 months for £25. Play as much as you want. Great. They don't care. They get their money. Xbox gets another number on the spreadsheet, like you said, and fine. As soon as they got greedy, put it up to £30 a month, they got no chance. And ever since I did that, I haven't even had it. I've got the games that I bought on there anyway. And I've just bought the games that were being played mostly on there that were on Game Pass. I just bought a la carte. So they've lost money by just squeezing the milk too far, and it's their own fault. So yeah, I've bought the games off them now, like Sims 4. Well, obviously not for me, but still, I spent that £32 or whatever it was for Sims 4 on Xbox, whereas they were getting that every 2 months on a rolling subscription. And they've lost so many people through it. It'll happen to the rest of them as well if they're not careful.
Yeah, it absolutely will. like you say, there's only so much juice that you can get out of a fucking orange, isn't there? Like, you're not going to keep squeezing them and getting everything you want. There has to be a point where these things end. I've got some potential solutions. I want you to rate them out of 5 on effectiveness, or whether or not you think that they'd even be something that they'd consider. So the first thing that I think that they could do to make things a little bit better, I think go back to a weekly release schedule for certain shows, not everything. I think, so today we briefly discussed the Laugh Out Loud thing where they're doing 3 releases, and I don't think that show particularly needs it. I do think that Stranger Things Season 4 would probably be better if we had a weekly release schedule. Ed, what do you think to a weekly release schedule? Would that improve things? Is it something you could see them doing? What are your thoughts?
I'm surprised they don't, because that drags things over longer time. So for the people like Susa talked about, that have joined to watch one thing, granted his was I'm a Celebrity, which is a conversation for another time. Like, that would make sense in terms of, from a business point of view, if Stranger Things is a 8 episode season or whatever it is, that's 8 weeks of a subscription. And if it's people that just want to watch Stranger Things, they've got 2 months of subscription money out of people. They don't do it because they like to create this buzz, don't they, on X, don't they? And who can watch it first and who can spoiler it first. And when people have to go into Robert Mugabe lockdown, and just go off all of their media, their X's and Blue Skies and everything. That's why they don't do it, because they really like the buzz, don't they, of did you see this? And hashtag spoilers and all those types of things. But I think that's a really good idea. To rate it's probably going to be a 2, because they're not going to do it. Because I think we're back to that snackification thing, aren't we? Of just, here's more content, here's people talking about it, that drives people there, even if it's to hate watch something. But I think that's a great idea, because I think that helps build a show. It helps. Like I always mention, I love Taskmaster. It's one of my favourite things I've ever watched, and it's amazing that you have to wait for next week to find out what happens next and who does what. And I think that's a underrated element of TV. But I think that's because I'm of our era when you just had to, and I just don't think anyone under the age of probably 30 now would consider that as a viable option. They want to binge over a weekend, hungover or whatever it is that young people do. So they're not going to do it. But I think it would also, it gives a little bit of breathing room for writers as well, I think, to make something longer and a little bit more in depth, because they have a little bit more time to play with things. They don't just have to keep coming up with ideas and what could we shock people with now.
Stu, what are your thoughts on that?
I'd probably go 2 as well, just because it's Netflix, and I think no, actually, maybe 3. So I don't think they'd ever go weekly, because it's something they've never done. But I could see a system where, because they did it with Stranger Things. I can't remember anything else where they've done it like that, other than stuff that they were showing, like Simcast stuff. Like, was Walking Dead on there? I can't remember now. There was definitely something that was on.
That was on
Netflix.
Prime, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Prime. It was. It might have been Breaking Bad, final season Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
So they had no choice, because obviously that was on AMC in America, and they have done it in the past. I think we probably got more chance of them doing the 3 episode drop and doing that in 3 parts and having it over 3 weeks and having a 9 to 12 season run of something than single episode, because they just have too much stuff, and I'm guessing that's going to be one of the points anyway. But personally, I think that works better. And I think with LOL as well, like watching the first, I didn't even know that going into it today. I watched the first, I just put it on and said play all, just sat there, and then it finished, and then oh no, and that's when I looked it up, and it said there's no reason to have a finale at all. Unless it's completely epic and there's like loads of them left and that episode's longer than the rest of them, then fair enough. But it's definitely that is the epitome of being there for engagement. It's an half hour episodes, and you're releasing it in hour and a half, and then who knows? That seems a bit stretching it too far. But look how popular it was last year. It's probably going to have the same again today. Bob Musman was already sharing stuff clips of himself on his socials, as is his way. But yeah, I think you've probably got more chance of like a blocks of releases rather than weekly as individuals.
Mm-hmm.
We can hope.
Yeah. Better transparency around viewership. So like we can actually understand a bit more about their retention and cancellation policies. Because at the moment they just tell us people have streamed 11 bajillion hours of this dog shit show that you've never heard of. And that's supposed to mean something to us. Like it just doesn't. So do you think giving us a bit more of an idea of the inner workings would help, Stu?
Yeah, we've asked for this for ages. Like, if something generally only has like 10 people watching it, which some of this stuff I could fully believe actually only does have 10 people watching it, and they were the ones who worked on it in the first place, because there's some nonsense on there, and there's way too much of it, and you see it one day and then it's gone. If people saw that, then they'd be okay. Yeah, the audience wasn't there. Maybe we can understand it, but just to never talk about it ever. And it just be like it's hours watched rather than people watching it. Mm-hmm. When you start talking like that, you know that it's the old fiddle in the books kind of situation, massaging the numbers. We don't need that.
Mm-hmm. Ed, what do you think? Would that just giving us that bit of a better understanding would make us a little bit more lenient towards them?
I think it can only do that, right? Because it's the peek behind the curtain of actually this is the reason things didn't work, or this is why it has kicked off. I guess that, or blown up, I should say. I think that's what those people people love numbers, don't they? That is the thing. You know, so many people are watching this, and that does, as a human being, because we're all pretty much sheep, we'll follow it, won't we? So that's another. I think that's an untapped market for these types of people actually who is watching it. I'm currently hate watching through Fallout because I started it on Prime.
I
can't stand it. People every now and again they blow someone's head off because they need to keep people's attention. But because I've started it, I've got to finish it. But it feels like I'm the only one watching it because anyone else I talk to either doesn't know about it or said, "Nah, I watched 2 episodes and turned it off." But Prime keeps telling me that it's the most watched show in the world at the minute. And so, but no one I know is watching it.
When season 1 was out, it was spoken about as like the greatest thing since sliced bread. I thought it was all right. It was fine. It was fine. And I don't know anyone who's seen season 2. And like, I want to see season 2 just because Macaulay Culkin's in it. I have no real interest.
He's the only shining light, Andy. He's the only shining light, I promise.
I imagine. So I might just like power through it just to watch him. But
yeah, he's in. Yeah. Episode 4 and 5 and 6 is where I think, and he's in those. He's not in the first 3. So if you're just looking for Kevin, then don't go to
just for Mac. Yeah, strange one. Fewer originals, more curation. A lot of the originals never get seen, or if they do, they're bad. It would be nice to get back some of what made Netflix special in the first place. Getting to watch older films and stuff that you either seen and love, or is a bit new and something that you might be slightly more interested in than them just pushing whatever nonsense that they just happen to have spent the latest 500 million on. Would that be something that you'd be interested in, Ed? Just a bit more of the old stuff, not just more of their new pap?
Yeah, I think we've talked about IP, haven't we, loads of times doing this, and I think it needs to feel worthwhile, and I think that's the problem that we have now. It's the churn is so... it's like it's being churned out, doesn't it? And it's not engaging when it's like that, because it's just like there'll be another one that comes along. It's like buses, isn't it? I've missed it. It's a tube train, isn't it? I've missed this one. The next one will be along in 3 minutes. That's something I didn't watch Stranger Things. I'm trying to catch up with it now because I missed it, and it's just like there'll be another one. And obviously nothing's really been as big as that. But like you just assume, well, the next big thing will turn up, won't it? So you just why bother catching up with it?
Yeah. Stu, few originals. I mean, let's be honest, the originals, when they've been good, they've been great. And everything else has been kind of forgettable. So I think if they just concentrated on, rather than releasing like 500 originals a year, if they just did 50 and then spent the money on Friends and The Office and things that they know people like to watch for comfort shows, does that make more sense than what they're doing currently?
I mean, it always seemed like the way of... having things that people love get you in the door, and then you watch the originals. That was how it always used to be, and that worked. And there's the hybrid way as well. Like the two of the films I've watched on there the last few weeks, and I've started doing it where I'll just give myself one day a week. I'll watch one of the Netflix films because add it to the list, never gets watched. So now I'm forcing myself to do it. But the two of the last couple of weeks, The Rip, which was I really liked. I think you probably will as well, if you just for the Affleck factor. And then yesterday I watched War Machine, and that was I did not expect it to be what it was at all. Because I've only ever seen that guy in Reacher on Prime. I've never seen him in anything else. This guy is built like a tank. He's built like a 90s action star, and that's what that film was.
Alan Richardson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am a fan.
But both of them films were just bought. The distribution rights were bought by Netflix. They didn't make them themselves. Like War Machine is made by Lionsgate. And so it didn't have any of the Netflix look about it because it wasn't made by them. But it was it was made first and then bought by them. So I think that works really well as a kind of half and half. Like you don't piss about, leave it to people who know what they're doing. Like the Tomorrow War was with on Prime. That was a ridiculously bad film, but it was fun. But it was made by someone else and then bought by them.
It's kind of like acting like a broadcaster rather than
a exactly.
creator.
Yeah.
And this is another option that it seems like they've got. This is a direction that they're starting to go in. There's a few of these where they've picked them up afterwards, or they've picked them up mid-production, and they work.
Out of interest, then, so you've never seen Alan Richardson in anything else. So you've not seen Blue Mountain State?
I don't think so.
I've never even heard of it.
No, I don't think that doesn't ring a bell at all.
I'm kind of stunned, especially at you, Stu. It's about it's a comedy show, and it's about American football college team. It's really good fun, and they made a film of it as well. Once the series had ended.
But the thing is, this is the thing, isn't it? This is the thing. You watched it, Andy, and we haven't because there's so much of it. It's like how many people do you speak to? And it's like,
I
found
out
do you watch this
on
person on
Netflix.
YouTube, and it's like no, but it's their biggest channel. They love it, but because there's so much of it, it can wash away.
Ironically, I found Blue Mountain State on Netflix before they put all the originals on, and it was brilliant, absolutely fantastic. I think the film may have even been a Netflix original or one of those which, as you said, was bought by Netflix to
2010.
here.
2010, it's now on MGM Plus. I've got that actually.
It's great fun. I think you'd both enjoy it. Just snackable half an hour TV episodes. The other thing I really like Alan Richardson in, and this is probably one for you, Ed, when in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, when they showed a young Scully and Hitchcock, and Alan Richardson played the one of the two of them. I love that episode. It was nice to see Hitchcock and Scully young and how they became who they became, and tremendous.
Wing sluts.
Yes, that's it. Physical media releases for some of the originals. We've spoke about this last week with the problem with the ownership issue. Ed, you weren't here last week. Thoughts on that, on whether or not we could get some kind of physical release? Because like that isn't going to help you in your subscription, but one, it will give them money for nothing, and plus it does give you that bit of ownership so that you do know that when Marriage Story, for example, which is probably my favourite of the Netflix films, when that goes off, which eventually it probably will, I've still got it, I can still find it, and I don't have to find ways and means. Do you think physical releases might be a way to build bridges?
I can see was obviously the uptake in things like Pokemon cards and trading cards in general. People are starting to move back to having something physical, and that I think now transcends even people in our era, because obviously we remember going to Choices or Blockbuster or whatever and getting your game or getting your video. And then buying your DVDs and your Blu-rays. I think that there's a market there, I think, for people that like to have something. And I think that's a market they could tap into. And like you say, it does then sort of future-proof Netflix itself by saying, we may take this off, but, if you love it, why don't you buy it for 20 quid or 15 quid because you can keep it? But whether people will want to pay the subscription fee twice to hold on to something, I don't think I'd do it. I think I'd need to really, really love it to do it. But I'm all for physical media. I think there's a craft towards those types of things that I think we miss out on. Like, I love Spotify, but it's not the same as getting your favourite album, is it? There's something very different. But I don't know if that's just because I'm 41.
Yeah. Stu, you're a physical media guy. Do you think this could be something?
Stu's much more of this than me.
I mean, I wouldn't see a problem if they did it like 12 months later. If it was just a thing where you get this with games anyway, don't you, already, where you get limited runs of things you can buy digital.
Game of the Year editions and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Well. So you do get this. This does happen in other ways. And I remember there was a feeder album that had Just a Day added to it afterwards. After Gran Turismo 3 came out, because that was a soundtrack on there, and it wasn't on the original album. Stereophonics did it with Jeep as well.
Yeah.
So
I had 2 versions of Jeep just because there was an extra song on there.
One of the best music videos ever as well, by the way. I love that music video.
But yeah, I don't see where the loser is there. I mean, if you haven't seen it within a year, then you're either not bothered or you haven't seen it. If you want to watch it on the stream, there you are. If you love it so much, go and get it in a box. Great. You don't have to make that many of them. You can have it as a
limited
kind of pre-order.
edition runs. People would love that shit. Did like the fucking Criterion collection or something. Make it an event. People would buy it. Because we're fucking idiots for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what I mean. It's the Pokemon stuff, isn't it? It's a one of whatever.
Exactly, yeah.
It's a PSA, whatever, and people absolutely love it, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
The exact thing what I waited for, the Thunderbirds box set.
Yeah.
That was by
Prime
them
example.
themselves. Yeah. They made that. It was Anderson Media made that themselves. You signed up on the website, you put your details in, they make enough to order, there you go. Job done. And yeah, I could stream it. Yeah, it's probably ripped already. It was 83 quid. Who cares? I love Thunderbirds.
That's it.
Same as the Turtles. And that's over 130 quid's worth of physical media. We're in March 2026. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, I completely agree. I do think that they can build something out of it, but whether or not they will. This one might just be for me. I don't know. I think they need to improve the user experience, like the actual website. I don't like how they just give you, if you've watched film A, they'll give you film A in black and white. They'll give you film A in super. Like, they just give you the same kind of film time and again. I kind of like the idea of, if they give you have you considered these films? So, like, you might like Fast and Furious. Have you considered Slow and Curious? Something completely different. I think that would be a bit better, where they don't just try and force the same shit on you consistently.
Is that the bisexual Down syndrome show?
I'm going to leave that there, I think.
It's gone. It's gone.
It's because I thought it and didn't say it. I wasn't brave enough as Stu was. That's why I've got a man crush on you, Stu.
Everyone always thinks it. Just get it out there.
There you go. So, how do you fight Enshittification?
You
vote with your subscription. Vote with your subscription. If a service gets worse, cancel it. Even if briefly, like, nothing will scare the platforms more than consumer churn. Put it back on them for a change. You can support creators directly. Buy the book, buy the Blu-ray, go to their Patreon page. It reduces your dependence on these type of platforms. You can start a support group for people whose favourite Netflix shows have been cancelled after one season. Talk to other people about these things and try and drive a little bit of engagement, maybe. I think demand transparency. I do. I like we just spoke about the numbers. I do think that we deserve better from Netflix. They take a lot of our money and they give us very little back in return, I think. But alternatively, we should reward their good behaviour. When a platform does something good, maybe we should crow about it a bit more and say that, social media does drive clicks, and the more people talk about the good stuff as well as the bad, maybe they'll get the idea. Maybe someone can hack into Netflix's headquarters and replace the autoplay trailer with a loop of "stop cancelling my favourite shows." Probably don't do that; you'll end up in jail. But what else have I got? Launch a rival streaming service called Notflix. There's only 3 shows on there, but they always get renewed, so you'll always be happy with that one. Diversify your media diet. Like, there are multiple platforms out there. We've said before, like Stewie only buys it for I'm a Celeb. So he's got ITVX. Maybe you do that 1 month. The BBC iPlayer is free to use. They have some good films on there that you can dive into. There's free stuff out there. There's stuff you can pay for. You can use multiple things. As I said, you've also got your Patreon. You've got fucking books that you can read. There's lots out there that you can do. It doesn't always have to just be this one flavour of stuff. One thing you should absolutely not do, though, is sail the high seas. It's not like they have absolutely everything you want, including all of the slop that Netflix has, and rams down your throat. So I'm not telling you to pirate things. No, definitely not. But if you do, get a good VPN. That's all I'm going to say on matters. So up next will be the short film review. We'll be discussing Beat the Devil by Tony Scott, and then we'll be talking about Tom Cruise in Top Gun, also by Tony Scott. Welcome back. Right, this week's short film review is Beat the Devil from 2002. It is a fever dream short film directed by Tony Scott, starring James Brown, Gary Oldman, and a very confused looking Clive Owen. It's 10 minutes of pure uncut noughties madness. If you're new to the pod, the short film review is where we review a short film and then we give an even shorter review. 60 seconds to fill you in on what the hell we just watched. This short film is available on YouTube. If you search for Beat the Devil 2002, it's the first link. I will also link it in the episode description of this podcast if you want to watch it. I am going to put a minute on the clock and then I will be coming to you first, Ed. Okay, you tell me when you're ready to roll, sir.
Yep. Yeah. What the hell did you make me watch is my initial question. But for those listening, watch it. It is ridiculously weirdly compelling. Every now and again you go, hang on, that's Gary Oldman. Why is Gary Oldman the devil? Why is this actually James Brown? I can't explain what you see. You see a drag race between the devil, which is Gary Oldman, and Danny Trejo. And you see Clive Owen, looking very young, driving James Brown down Las Vegas' strip. It's noughties madness. It's a load of fun. I don't understand it. It's like Fifth Element with even less explanation and with even more campness. And the devil almost dies, Andy. The devil almost dies. That's how crazy this film is. And I think it's a Robert Johnson. There's a Robert Johnson element to it, isn't there? So if you like your blues music, it's worth watching.
Super. Stu, tell me when.
This is one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my entire life. It's like a cross between Supernatural, Swordfish, any kind of like Ocean's 11, any kind of super stylized jazz funk nonsense that you've ever seen. It's like I watched it 3 times.
I watched it twice.
Gary Oldman with lipstick on. You think, okay, that's a bit strange, but it works perfectly. Yep. And I know quite a bit about Crossroad Demons, watching that show for nearly 15 years. This is the best version of the devil you're ever going to see. It's a better version than we saw last week in that nonsense, silly film, Legend. Even though Tim Curry was great. But yeah, this and the cameo at the end is well worth it. We don't need to say what it was, but let's just say I wasn't really a fan of the music at the time. I listened to it on the way back from Brentford and I couldn't stop.
Excellent. Super. Right, okay. Beat the Devil is a reminder that the early 2000s were powered by Red Bull and cocaine. It is chaotic, hyper-stylized, and honestly, I'm shocked that Nicolas Cage didn't walk off the set of Gone in 60 Seconds to make an appearance. Yeah. It's a fun twist on the old Robert Johnson Deal with the Devil myth, except instead of a blues guitarist at the crossroads, it's James Brown in Vegas. Gary Oldman is camping it up as the devil, prancing around like he's auditioning for RuPaul's Drag Race. It's easy to forget with Gary Oldman because he's now this big super serious actor. that he used to love giving a silly bastard a performance, and that's what he gives here. It was great. And Clive Owen is there. He's just along for the ride, which is kind of ironic considering he's the driver in this film. The plot surprisingly makes some sense. It's just delivered with so many cuts and filters and visual flourishes that it feels like a trailer for a film that doesn't exist. All it's missing is an Elvis mashup or a Linkin Park outro to complete the 2002 bingo card. 10 minutes was more than enough. I needed to lie down after this film. Did I enjoy it though? Yeah, absolutely. After weeks of emotional, thoughtful shorts, it was nice for something so popcorn. Lovely. Right, okay. So that's the short film review done. It's the big one. I think this is the one we've really been waiting for, isn't it? Top Gun's up next. Welcome back. May 16th, 1986. Top Gun was released to the world. Ed, how old were you when you first saw Top Gun?
Oh, I was 19, Andy. I didn't watch this till I was at university. I was very late to this one.
Were you a late comer to this one, Stu? That laugh says a lot, doesn't it?
Never late. Probably. I think I'd already seen this before I went to secondary school. So you're talking probably about 10, 11, I guess.
I think I'm probably closer to Ed than yourself. I think I didn't catch it till fairly late. The first time I saw it was on DVD, and I had a DVD player when I was 16. So I was probably 17, 18 maybe when I saw it. Because it had that, I don't want to watch that. It's camp, it's silly, it's bollocks. And then like you watch it, you're like, oh, okay, this might actually be one of the greatest films that's ever been produced.
Well, I had Sky Movies / cinema as part of my Telly West cable package, as well as the sport. So I watched a lot of films, and back then, and this was obviously would have been on there as the classics, and obviously the soundtrack is as important as everything else in this film. And being a child of the 80s, that kind of stuff was on all the time anyway. So it made no real difference. I didn't realise how iconic it was at the time, obviously, but I didn't see it as camp until you only see it as camp later on in the volleyball slapping arse stuff and the overt gayness of it all. But you don't see that as a kid, and I didn't really see that until years later. This is like one of my top 10 films of all time. I love this film. And this is when we were having the whole thing about when Maverick was coming out, I went, no, people love this film. And I watched it again today. I wasn't even going to watch it again. I thought I don't need to watch it again. And then you said, yeah, we'll do it at 8:30. I thought, oh, class. I've got 2 hours. I can fit it in again. And it's one of them that that's probably a 10th time or something.
It's a fucking brilliant film.
There's some silliness like that, and it never gets like, even though you watch a film so many times, it kind of ruins it for yourself, and you get to, you're looking for the story beats and stuff. No, with Top Gun, it's just fucking class.
I completely agree. I mean, I put in the group chat earlier because obviously I was watching it whilst I should have been working. Same. And it's the scene, You've Lost That Loving Feeling scene might be one of my favourite moments in any film that I've ever seen. There's just something so completely endearing about that moment. There's like an innocence to it that probably doesn't belong in this film, and that's what makes it so much better. And it's kind of weird because this might be the most hyper-masculine film that I think we've watched on this podcast, but it's also potentially the gayest film we've ever seen on this podcast. It's just quite incredible that it manages to be pushing the extremities of both sides of that coin, and it works perfectly, I think, for it. Is it in my top 10 of all time? Ed, like, where does it sit for you?
I think if we're going action movies, it has to be. I think if you take out some of the, I like this film because it's made me think films, this is up there as one of the best films you can turn your brain off to. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I think it's that scene that you talked about. It feels almost improv, doesn't it? It's that natural.
Yeah.
And the film is full of cliches, it's full of ridiculousness, but it doesn't matter. It's just so good. I think when we're talking action films, when we're talking films that, like I said, you can switch your brain off to, if it isn't in your top 3, then there's something wrong with you.
I think I agree. Like, don't get me wrong, I've got a list of filmy films that I love.
Yeah.
And then there's a list of films that I just unashamedly fucking adore.
This is a movie, isn't it? This is a movie.
This is in the list with Little Shop of Horrors for me. This is like the film that I will just go to because it makes me feel happy. Which is weird because, like, let's be honest, it's fucking propaganda for a war machine. I don't think we can escape that. But it's just such a well-made film that I think I can just put that to one side and then just enjoy the ride that you go on with it.
There are very few films of this era that look as good as this does still.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's practical. We all know why. It's real. But it's not aged at all.
No.
Even in the best, the first Terminator film, obviously, look, it's the stop motion stuff kind of takes you out of it a little bit because of how old it is. This hasn't got any of that, but that was the Terminator looks like it's from the 80s. This could quite easily have been filmed the week before Maverick.
Mm.
It's so clean, isn't it? It's just everything about it is vibrant, and I think you touched on it there, Andy, about sort of the campness, the homosexual tension that's in all of it. But also, it doesn't really shy away from the fact that these blokes are going through some hard shit, and it's really difficult. And that, for the time, is crazy because you didn't really do that. It was hyper masculine. The whole film's hyper masculine, but it's also these hyper masculine blokes going, "Oh, Goose died. This is really difficult." I mean, the opening scene where the guy just blacks out and freezes, like that's for an action film, and you're thinking about what you know about the film and how hyper homoerotic it is. Him giving up his station that's relatively brave, I would argue, in terms of the writing.
PTSD doesn't feel like it was a thing until after. I mean, maybe it was, I don't know, but it feels like a relatively modern, term.
Yeah.
It was probably considered. Yeah. And I just think that I wonder if this actually made those sort of inroads, because it is definitely a big silly bollocks film that also has feelings underneath it all. Like, you can drill down and look past the silliness, the hypermasculinity, the overt campness, and see the fragility of the people underneath it. And I think that's why this is such an enduring movie. I think it's probably something I didn't respect pre-Maverick. And that's why I thought maybe why are they doing Maverick at this point now, 20-something years later? And now looking at it, oh no, I get it. Because it is something I think that on repeat viewing, it is the type of film where I do see more to it. It's an onion. It's Shrek's onion. It's got layers. I like this film so much.
Yeah. And then did you see the... it's a slight tangent, but it makes sense for this. The thing with Thierry Henry and Mika Richards from last night on CBS.
No.
It was absolutely amazing. I mean, it's 40 years after this film came out, and it's still quite shocking because of what he did. And like, they always take the piss out of Big Meeks and the Clown and whatever. And when they were introducing them, and they had Clint Dempsey on yesterday, and Kate was just introducing him on it, and Thierry just stopped her. He said, "Can we just, before we do the introductions?" And he was like, he proper like interviewing Micah Richards about like how he played through injury, and he said, I managed to play through my Achilles issues, and I ended the career on my terms. Your career was cut short, and I don't think we give you the respect. And he went through the whole thing about what you was depressed, and he said, "What did you do with your depression?" And he was talking about he was drinking. I thought, this isn't fucking CBS Galazzo, one of the silliest shows in the world. Yet he's managed to talk about all this real stuff like it's nothing. I thought, that's a genuinely impressive thing to do, and yet you are still talking. It's genuinely impressive because we still don't see it very often 40 years later. And this was in a bombastic action film from 1986.
Yeah, very much so. Obviously, Stu, you've been here from the very start. Is this the best film we've watched?
By far. It's like, this is a 10 out of 10 for me. There's not many of them. And it's it by far and away the one is the best film we've seen so far.
Like, I mean, we've seen some really good proper filmy films. Pig, Leaving Las Vegas, like just exceptional. This rivals them, like for sure. Obviously, it's a different style of film, but it's.
I was shocked at the IMDb rating was like 7 point something. I thought that's just some people that don't like fun. That's
there's a lot of anti-war revisionists.
Yeah, no, and I get that, but you also have to remember that this was relevant for the time. We're in the middle of the Cold War, so this isn't. You shouldn't be surprised that America wants to celebrate being American. They still love doing it now, but even back then, this was propaganda. But it's such a good film. I obviously haven't watched all the films you guys have watched, even though I've listened to every podcast. But I think even some of our Lord and Saviour Nicolas Cage's best works they're pale in comparison, I think, to this.
And Con Air is probably the closest, and that's silly.
In stylized term, yeah. Because I think as actual quality, it doesn't touch it. The Rock, I think, might be the closest. In terms of both quality and style, I think The Rock is probably as close as it gets. And I think this still shades it. I like The Rock. It's just the problem with The Rock is it's half an hour too long. And if The Rock was half an hour shorter, it'd probably be the same length as this.
I think that's another good shout. This is 1 hour 40. It's perfect. It doesn't need to be any longer.
No. And we complain about that a fair bit. A bad edit, films are made in the edit. We know this, and a bad editor can ruin a film, but a fucking great editor can make anything just the best. And what a film. Does he run? I was kind of surprised he doesn't run a lot, because this is the proto Tom Cruise performance. There's a bit where he's doing a little jog on the flight deck when he looks like he's just late for his supper. There's a little bit of a skip when he's trying to maneuver getting away from his feelings after Goose's death. He looks really angry and he just turns and sort of skips away rather than actually running. There's not a lot. I think there's just enough to say it's a run performance. It's like early doors run, not Ethan Hunt sort of running. Stu, does he take his shirt off?
Well, he has his shirt on. He's considering how, compared to Legend, he looks so much different. He looks so much older in this.
He does. I was going to mention that, is that in the last few films we've watched, he looks like a boy, and all of a sudden he looks like a man.
That's a good point. How old was he in this? 86? So he's got to be 24 maybe, I think. IMDb, Tom Cruise. Because you are right, the age difference between Legend and this looks just enormous. You could tell me that there was a 10-year age gap between them, and I'd probably believe you, because he looks 14 in the last film.
Yeah, it's year 7 to year 10, isn't it, this, what we've got here?
Yeah.
He's gone through some kind of growth, well, not growth spurt, because it's our Tom, but he's gone through some kind of transformation.
Right, he was born in 62, so he would have been 23-ish when he was filming probably both of these. So we're looking at 22, 23 for the two films. It looks worlds apart between the two of them, I think. That's quite incredible. Does he wear sunglasses? Ed, were you on for the Risky Business episode?
No.
There was an Ash for that one. I'd said on that the Risky Business sunglasses, the Wayfarers, are the second most iconic sunglass wearing in any film. That's because Top Gun is the most iconic, isn't it? He just is.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're wearing them in the club. They can't see it. They can't be able to see anything. And they take them off just to put them back on again. It's just, but I love it. And this, probably in any other film I'd hate it, but in this film it just works.
Absolutely. Any explosions? I mean, they're fighter pilots. There was a number of explosions in this one.
Yeah, the way that the planes blow up at the end, where the American plane gets clipped, but then whenever Tom takes out one of their MiGs, it's all gone. It's we can take a shot, but we can, our right hook's going to get you.
Yeah. Cruise doing cruise things. Any stunts or tropes that you associate with Tom Cruise, Stu?
I mean, he's playing sport in this one, so yeah, romancing the ladies' tick, running around, yeah,
Motorbike,
looking cool, yeah,
Yeah. Cocky but lovable. And like there's that vulnerability as well. Like he's built his career on that, hasn't he? Let's be honest. And I've noticed as well, like he's emotionally damaged, but he doesn't admit it until the last 10 minutes of the film when everything gets resolved quite quickly.
You know he's cheeky and lovable because she falls in love with him in about 3 scenes.
I mean, like, I think if he sang that at me in the pub with all of the others doing it, I'd probably fall in love as well, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we all have, which is why it's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I think so. The smile, it's kind of crooked, but it's bankable as fuck. You can see why he became the man that he's become now. Whilst Tom Cruise didn't fly the planes, he did fly in the planes. He was in the back seat pulling real G-force. He vomited, got out, and then asked to go again. That's super Tom Cruise, isn't it? The Navy told him no touching the controls, no pretending to touch the controls, and no trying to charm your way into touching the controls. So obviously he then tried to charm his way into touching the controls. Cruise has said that flying in the F-14s was an experience that he's never forgot. He credits this as the seed which grew into his religion of, I do my own stunts. This is the film that shaped his entire career philosophy. Top Gun taught Cruise that the value of authenticity was the most important thing. The audience feeling something is real when it's actually real. So he's also credited Scott as being the reason for this film's success. He said that Tony had a vision. He made this iconic. The Big Three award count, cumulatively, we were on 7. Up to and including Legend. This week there are 6 more nominations at the Big Three Awards, with 2 wins. At the Academy Award, it won Best Original Song for Take My Breath Away by Berlin. It was nominated for Best Editing, Best Sound, and Best Sound Effect Editing. And then at the Globe, it also won for Best Original Song, again, Take My Breath Away, and it was nominated for Best Motion Picture Drama, which... The Golden Globes are so farcical to call this a drama. This would have been better fit in the comedy or musical bracket, surely. Like, it's closer to a comedy, and we've got a little bit of a musical elements to it, but that's the Globes for you. It wasn't nominated for a BAFTA, but it was up for a Brit Award for Best Soundtrack, which I think is fair.
Yeah, the soundtrack's incredible.
The critical response at the time was kind of mixed. Roger Ebert said that the film was basically a commercial for the Navy. On Cruise, he said that Cruise had presence, but the character was paper thin. He did praise the flying sequences as breathtaking. Ebert's partner, Siskel, he was more positive. He said he thought it was slick, loud and entertaining. He praised Cruise's charisma, saying that he carries the film even when the script doesn't. Janet Maslin of the New York Times called it a triumph of style over story, but meant in a complimentary way. She praised Cruise's easy charm and movie star confidence and loved the visuals. She basically said it's shallow, but it's sexy, and that's the point. Can't argue with that. Rita Kempley, she didn't like it though. A recruiting poster for the Navy disguised as a movie. Tom Cruise was all grin and no depth. There has been a bit more of a modern reassessment, which has been a lot more positive. The Guardian saying it's a perfect time capsule of 80s excess. Cruise has got raw, youthful charisma, and that it's unintentional homoerotic brilliance. Empire magazine calls it iconic, thrilling, and the film that made Cruise Cruise. Says the flying sequences hold up better than most modern CGI, which, Stu, you pointed out, it absolutely does. The budget and box office, it was $13 to $15 million budget, which gives us a cumulative total of 82.5, and it recouped $357.4 million at the box office.
Doesn't seem like enough.
I mean, it's just because it's 80s.
Yeah.
Because I suppose if they made that today, 15 million, that's probably 150 million, and I bet that would be pushing $1 billion at the box office.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the current cumulative total is 556.8 million. Ed, Cage or Cruise?
Oh, no, this has to be Tom. This one has to be Tom. I think Nicolas Cage would be a great Goose. But he's not Maverick. He's not Maverick.
I've got that in my notes as well. Yeah,
he's not Maverick. Or Tim Robbins looking like someone's dad at the end. Everyone else looks young and he's just this 6'3" bloke that looks out of place. He could have been him too. I've forgotten his name now. Merlin.
Yeah. Stu, Cage or Cruise?
Yeah, it doesn't work when Cage. This doesn't. We've got Wings of the Apache for that.
He's just not handsome enough.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. And he's, I think the Goose thing does work because Anthony Edwards is a bit strange and weird. But so actually, when was it? We can figure this out when I actually watch it then, because I'd already seen him in ER. So when did ER start?
94.
Yeah. So so I probably was about 10, 11 then, because I'd seen him in ER first, and I'm sure he was there from the very start.
Yeah, I think he was. I think he was the last standing of the original cast, if I remember correctly, before his spoiler alert character dies, which might be one of the saddest things I've ever seen on TV.
Yeah.
A heartbreaking episode that was.
Not the guy from RoboCop who gets chopped up by the helicopter. That was a class death.
Yeah, that was great. That was.
I watched that far too young. I said every time you bring it up, I can't believe when I watched that film.
Right, so 1986 Nicolas Cage was The Boy in Blue, that awful fucking rowing shit we watched, and Peggy Sue Got Married. That was 86 Cage. He's never doing Top Gun in 1986. The only time I think he's got enough about him to pull off this kind of role would probably be like the Gone in 60 Seconds era of Cage, the 2000s era. I don't think, at this point, like they're worlds apart in the type of film. Cage is still trying to find his feet, and I think he just about starts to do it in the late 80s. This is the film that pushed Cruise into being the reason that we're doing this podcast, to be perfectly honest. There's no other answer than it being Tom Cruise for this role. Is Cruise the saviour of cinema or just another sinner, Stu?
100% superstar.
Ed?
Yeah, he's the Messi Ronaldo of this film. Is incredible, and it's only that one of those things that you've just read out about someone saying it's paper thin. That it's obviously this is not a film; it's a movie, but he's not paper thin. He really isn't. I think it's a genuinely very good performance, considering a lot of the dialogue is "God damn it" and other complete and utter cliches. Every single thing feels meant. He's a superstar. I think that's the right word Stu's picked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree with both of you. This is a very good performance, and you can see how he's built a career off of this. Yeah, superstar. I don't think there's any other word for who he is. If you enjoyed Top Gun, you may also like. Ed, I'm coming back to you.
Oh, just watch Maverick. I can't tell you what else to watch. It's if you want unadulterated, ridiculous. I don't think anything else. I'd be really hard pushed to give you anything else. In my notes, I tried to think of something clever. I even tried to use ChatGPT, and I didn't like the responses that gave me. So just watch Maverick, and then go back and watch Top Gun again. I'd forgotten how good of a film it was.
Yeah, fair. Stu, are you going to recommend Firebirds or Wings of the Apache?
The problem is that the only films that are very similar to this are the Tom Cruise films. You can go and watch Airwolf. All of Airwolf is good. Better than Wings of the Apache.
What isn't better than Wings of the Apache?
See, I think the reason I found this difficult, sorry, Stu, to jump in, is because it's the amount of silly bollocks that this film gets away with somehow is really difficult to find another film that does that without it being a spoof.
You know what? The only one, because I had him, and I watched them around about the same kind of age, same kind of time. Die Hard.
Mm-hmm. That's a good shout, actually.
I get it. Yeah, I can see parallels between the characters. That, yeah, absolutely. It's interesting you said spoof, because I was kind of thinking Hot Shots.
Hot Shots, that's exactly when I just said spoof, then I thought of Hot Shots and Hot Shots Part 2.
I think I think I preferred Part 2, but I haven't seen either of them for so long that I wouldn't mind rewatching them to see. The film that I went with, kind of ironically, stars Miles Teller, who was obviously in Top Gun Maverick. Whiplash with J.K. Simmons. He won the Oscar, J.K. Simmons did. So Miles Teller plays a young, cocky upstart who has tunnel vision on the prize to the point of almost self-destruction. Kind of similar to Mav. It's a film about two men pushing each other onwards using competition as fuel for each other. It's two films about grief and trauma driving performance. They're both high-octane, adrenaline junkie films, but Top Gun is about F-14s and Whiplash is about jazz drumming. It's just... like, the settings are so different, but the forward momentum is just completely there. You would probably know Whiplash. If you don't know the film, you would know the meme. There's a guy who's playing drums, but it looks like he's wanking because you just see his face.
Oh, yeah.
That's Whiplash. It's from the guy who Damien Chazelle, who did La La Land, which is another film that I will put up there in my top 10. Whiplash is an outstanding movie, and J.K. Simmons gives one of the best supporting performances I've ever seen in anything. Absolutely amazing film.
Was she already Supergirl before this?
I think was Whiplash 2018. I think. Let me have a quick look. She definitely done Glee. Oh, it was 2014. Melissa had done Glee at this point. Did you know that Glee's coming back? By the way, Stu. And so it's 2015 with Supergirl. Anthony Ramos. We're getting an original cast member of Hamilton will be coming in the new Glee show.
But is it canonically the same universe?
I don't know if it's a reboot. I don't know if it's a sequel. I don't know.
If it's Glee the new class and he's back again.
What, Mr. Shoe? Because I kind of feel like you've got to have Shoe there, being a fucking lecherous old pervert that he is.
He's got to be bald now.
He's appeared randomly on my TikTok a couple of times, doing a tour, and he's like singing Justin Timberlake songs, and he looks no fucking different to when he was in Glee. Like everyone talks about Paul Rudd not aging, but no, it's Matthew Morrison. He's got that DNA where he just looks. He's looked about 45 forever, but like a good 45. Yeah, but I'm kind of excited, but at the same time, a little bit worried.
Is it the same people, though?
I don't think so. I assume it's going to be a whole new cast. Cause,
not Ryan Murphy.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be Ryan Murphy. He's going to be showrunning it, but I think everyone else is going to be new. Because Ryan Murphy's working with Anthony Ramos at the moment on The Beauty, which I'm not sure how I feel about it.
Oh, no. Is it going to be even more gay than before? Because it seems like he's gone that way.
The Beauty hasn't been. He's had a few, I say gay icons. He's had Ben Platt, who's obviously known as playing Evan Hansen, who is quite a big gay icon on Broadway and stuff. I kind of feel like that's very much Ryan Murphy's MO at this point. Like, even if he made Top Gun, he would somehow make it even gayer than it already was. Like, it's in his DNA. Did you ever watch Glee, Ed? I feel like you would have hated it.
No. No, I didn't. I didn't watch it.
It's a show about show tunes.
No, well, I am a big old school musical fan. I love Singing in the Rain, all that kind of stuff. But no, that didn't appeal to me at all. The Rat Pack, all that stuff. I love all of those. If you ever did anything on those, but not Glee, no.
So you didn't go to New York just to watch Rachel Berry on stage performing as Funny Girl, then? Was that just me?
That was definitely just you. When I go to New York, I'm just going to do what Kevin McAllister did. That's it. That's all I want to do. That's the itch I've got to scratch.
What I like... Okay, so New York, if you do go at Christmas time, the toy store that the Toy Store in Home Alone 2 is based on is now right next to where that Christmas tree will be, so you won't have to walk far to do both of them. Yeah.
That's what Grealish did last year.
Incredible. Right, so next week is going to be a bit lighter than what we've been doing over the last few weeks. We're going to be doing the Brat Pack month. We're starting off with the OG Brat Pack, the 1980s. So next week, it's Emilio Estevez, Rob Lowe, Demi Moore, Judd Nelson, Molly fucking Ringwald, Robert Downey Jr., Kevin Bacon. It's the good shit. Then we'll move it on a generation to the noughties, and then we'll bring it right up to date as we do the 2020s Brat Pack, which I think is probably going to be a lot of Sydney Sweeney chat at that point.
Chalamet, right?
Yeah, Chalamet.
Is he in it? I would say he's in it, right?
This is what we'll be discussing.
Okay.
So I think that's a good question. Yeah. We will also be watching the short film The Strange Thing About the Johnsons, available on YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah. I wanted to make sure that we watched it, Stu, when you were still here, and I wanted to make sure that it was an episode that Ed was going to be on, because I think Ash has seen it, and I just kind of want someone to go in with fresh eyes and
don't look anything.
Yeah, I'm going to say no more.
I've just seen that it's 29 minutes long, so when I normally watch it when my kid's playing cricket, and people look at me weird when I'm either laughing and stuff.
Don't watch
it in front of people.
The title alone means that I'm not going to watch it in front of people. I'll watch it in the comfort of my own sin.
Yeah. And then, of course, the cruise continues as we stay in 1986 and join TC working with Party Marty Scorsese in The Colour of Money, a loose sequel to 1961's The Hustler, with Paul Newman reprising his role as Fast Eddie Felson. I kind of hope that I get a chance to watch The Hustler again. I don't think I've seen The Hustler for over 25 years. I was probably still at uni thinking about it, maybe. It's been a long time either way. And I kind of want to do the double feature. I think I watched The Colour of Money for the first time mid-pandemic, and I'm really looking forward to rewatching that movie. So that's going to be next week. Right, so make sure you've got us on whatever podcatcher that you listen to us on. If you could leave us a 5-star review, we'd love you forever. If you don't think we deserve 5 stars, well, firstly, fuck you. And secondly, just leave us a review. Just tell us what you want us to do, what you think we can do a little bit better. If you want to get in contact, it's at Cage Fighting Pod on the socials, and it's cagefightingpod@gmail.com via email. But this week, Ed, would you like to say goodbye?
Goodbye, and remember that we all have the need for speed.
Stu, would you like to say goodbye?
I just can't wait for next week. Goodbye, everyone.
It's goodbye from me too. And remember, you've lost that loving feeling.